this is Patty Ramon. Thanks for joining us on The Pulse. I'm here with Gavin Navaro. He is our communications consultant extraordinaire. Tell us a little bit about how you got started with this exciting career you have.
Well, I mean, it's definitely a journey. Lots of hats along the way. I think your career evolves when you find out what you really like. I born and raised in South Texas. Went to Edinburgh North High School. Went to UTRGV for a while. And, just watching E-News, for, a summer or I don't even know, months. And I'm like, oh, that's an interesting job. Then I picked up a book on the entertainment industry and decided I'm going to try this Hollywood game. I really like it. The book was like, it's the only book that I read at the time, front to back. I couldn't put it down. So I knew there was an obsession there. I was like,
what's the name of that book?
The book was about an agent that started CAA, which is one of the most powerful companies in the world as far as the entertainment industry goes. And it was a book, his name is Michael Ovitz. And it was about his life and how he got into business, how he started the company, and how they became, like, even till today, they represent Tom Cruise, all the biggest and the best. So I was just like, wow, kind of like Jerry Maguire. Jerry Maguire, the sports.
Who doesn't?
Sports business. But this was the entertainment business. So I was like, I want to be an agent. I want to represent actors. So packed up my car, a 1993 freaking Ford Explorer, went north, hit San Antonio, went left on the 10 and didn't stop until I got there.
When was this?
This was a long time ago. I don't want to age myself, but I got there in 98.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was day one and I was like, let's go, and it was a lot of like trials and tribulations where, when I left the Valley, Jackson Road was still dirt. That's how long ago it was. And, there was no social media. There was none of that. Cell phones had just come on, this started being
You're the AOL days.
Exactly. Dial up, I'd go into the UTRGV computer room and it would take a while to get on, but it was an interesting time. So there was not enough information about like what, when you moved like to LA from the Rio Grande Valley, even today it's a big deal, but then it was like moving to another planet. So, I mean, it took a big leap and I just felt the energy and excitement and I was a baby. So you're bouncing up the walls, and I knew there was certain career paths I was going to take. I was either going to be a teacher, obviously, which is kind of like the path that most people take.
Especially from the Valley, yeah.
Yeah. And steady job. You're off in the summers, right? So I was like, that's kind of cool.
There for all the right reasons.
Yep. And I worked at Q94.5, which I think is still around.
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
And Que Pasa, and this company was Sunburst Media. And I was doing that for a long time. And I just saw like what my bosses were doing that are my age today. And I was like, nah, I'm not sure I want to be doing that. I was like, there's got to be a little bit more. And I'm like, listen, at the end of the day, if I get out to Hollywood, it doesn't work. I could always come back and have a great life.
For sure.
I love the Rio Grande Valley. My family has, they have an amazing life on their day-to-day, their life right now.
Your family still lives in the Valley right now?
They're all my whole family. I'm the only one that got away. They're all down there, which is great. So when I come to visit, I can see everybody and just hang out. So packed up my bags, went out to Hollywood, and it was scary. It was scary.
Did you ever want to turn back?
Every day. I wanted to do maybe like 3 hours in. I was like, what am I doing here? But I didn't, though, because everyone said I would. So all my friends, if you want to call them friends, right, were like, oh, you're going to come back. You're coming back. This ain't for you. I'm like, okay, haters.
I'm going to prove you wrong. Yeah.
Well, it was that. And for myself, too. It was like, well, I didn't know enough, but I at least knew enough to know that, okay, I can give it a try. And always have that. And that's the good thing, right, about our families in the Rio Grande Valley, where
their doors are always open.
They're always open. They're always going to help you. I could go live with my mom today and she wouldn't even raise an eyebrow. She'd be like, cool.
But I mean, look at you now. Now you're like at red carpet events.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're all over the world, private jets. I mean, it's definitely been worth it to get there.
But that's where I kind of knew. I told myself, okay, this is the lifestyle I want one day, which is maybe I wasn't that too ambitious. I just kind of wanted to do something where I could wake up every day and be excited about it, and where. You
don't need a vacation from your work. You actually like it.
Maybe I think you nailed it. Where it wasn't I had my own schedule. Like today, I wake up, I do what I want when I want, I work when I want, which is exciting. A lot of my work now is like travel based. So like if I'm going somewhere, then you put on your work hat for 3-4 days, and then you're good. Um, but
Like, take us through your recent last work journey. I know you were in Las Vegas. What was that like?
okay,
What
yeah.
did you
So
do?
so I just flew in for F1 uh, in Vegas, which is huge now.
Star
They're
studded.
in their third year, star studded. We have the best tickets, the best red carpets. There's a big event called the NFAR event that we go to, and they're raising money, and they sold the car for $18 million. So like
Wow.
that shows you what
Do
kind
any of that money go to like
of
good causes?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's an AIDS charity event. Yeah, worldwide known. They do them all over the world. And they create these amazing experiences, these galas, these red carpets. There's celebrities, there's billionaires. It's a TV show that you're watching, on TV. But for real, right? It's like
Great.
Entourage mixed with like a Sex in the City, and like it's
I mean, who doesn't love that?
who exactly, and people do love it. That's why it's
But
packed.
not just anyone can go, can they?
No, no, no. You got to be invited, and then the tickets go from like $1,500 to $100,000. So, um, you
So
definitely
what's
got to
your
be in that.
role?
And so in that
So,
case, is like as an entertainment consultant, right? So I've been in the business now for 25 years, so I know a lot of people. And the doors I can open all the doors, which is part of some of my businesses that I do. I'm an entertainment consultant where people will, like, let's say, Patty wants to go and make a movie in Hollywood. Patty can go to Hollywood, and it might take her 10 years to figure it out.
Mhm.
You call me, I can help you do it in maybe 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. That's the brilliant part of being a consultant.
But what I
So they're
like about your
paying for your all the work I did, the 25 years of
that's what
crap
I
that
was
I
about
went
to
through.
say.
They
That's
are
what I was about
paying
to
for
say.
that, and that's how
That's the
consulting companies
value.
make. That's the value. There's why these consulting companies do very well, because I've done it with some in businesses that I am. I'll go pay someone and say, okay, cut me to the front of the line here. I don't want to wait years and years and years. So that's one of my companies where I consult people that want to come into Hollywood and meet the right people, and it's a lot of big companies now that will hire me because you know
Of those relationships.
yes, in those relationships, let's say a new startup raises $20 million, right? And they need to go out and meet the right people and put this money, build their company and put the money to use. So they'll come and hire me and be like, look, I need to meet with this company. I didn't meet with the head of that company. And with some of the stuff that I do, the turnaround time could be quick. I can text someone and make it happen, or I can go through my channels of people. Okay, I know this person that knows this person, and figure it out instead of them cold calling that company. Like,
And
hey,
probably getting the runaround and
of
not
course
getting
they're
anywhere.
not going to get through. No,
Yeah,
no way. Because
I've
everyone's
been on the other end of that, so I know. I know
so
what
have
that's
I.
like.
So I still do that today, but so have I. But I've kind of figured it out over. When in my career, I've moved job to job to job. I've been an agent. I've been a manager. I've been a publicist. I'm an entertainment consultant. I'm a business owner. Um, I've produced movies. I've produced TV shows. I've raised money for a lot of these companies. So when you do all that, you're just meeting people and
Correct.
meeting people, and you keep these relationships, and you do favors for people.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. I just want to stop you for a second because I want people to understand the value in what you're saying, right? So example, and again, I don't want to age myself either, although most people that know me know my age. But so I hit the ground running when I was really young too. I think I was graduating at around 21, 22 with a communications degree, and I just thought doors would open because that's kind of what we're taught. Back in the day when you're little, like you go to school, you study, and doors just open. And it wasn't like that.
No,
Especially not in communications or in entertainment.
Yep.
And so fast forward a few years, I'll just say a few years, I won like 3 beauty crowns. I had 3 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
I had really schlepped, as Andy Cohen would say, through a lot of studios and a lot of divas and being their assistant and having them mentor me with all the wrong advice. And I realized that nobody cared about any of that. But the minute I had a title or a crown, all of a sudden there was companies being like, can you be our spokesperson? Can you do our commercial? And I was like, I didn't even get to tell them I was bilingual. I don't even know if they cared I had a brain. And I'm not putting those companies down, nor will I put them on blast. I'm very grateful for those opportunities. But it really made me think, I have 3 little sisters. Well, they're not so little anymore, but I wanted to still tell them like education is valuable, experience is valuable.
Yeah.
And I just wish that if there's anything I could do and bring value to, especially with my conversation with you, is that there's value in climbing the ladder the right way. There's a smart way to do it. And it doesn't always have to end there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that maybe in the value in what you do, that you run across probably hundreds of thousands of people that want to do it the easy way. And then there's people that you have to probably be a little honest with. So what do you do when you have someone?
That's a great example. I'm glad you brought that up because I know personally 20 people that kind of got to LA around the same time as me. And they refused to schlep. They refused to go out of their way. They refused to take the bus. They refused. So I was a big advocate of helping my bosses with other stuff outside the business. So I would help them move. I would maybe wash their car, believe it or not. I would take them to the airport because I knew that would earn the trust, right, first of all. And I get to know them outside the office, right? And then I knew that would come back later in life, which has come back many times, even till this day. Somebody I helped 20 years ago, I think, I asked him for something yesterday and he helped me. And it just shows you where that goes a long way. And I remember him telling people, man, this guy helped me move a long time ago. Like just, but a lot of my friends wouldn't do that.
Right.
And that's why I don't know what they're doing now. They're not in the business. And maybe some, were very smart and able to do it, but a lot of them are not in the business, because they don't, you think it's a traditional, it depends how you're raised as well, right? They think you get an education and everything, all the doors are going to open. No, so when I got to Hollywood, I had left school early, so I was applying to jobs with Harvard guys and very smart people with like great families. And I was like, well, how am I going to stick out here? So I started interning for free and I started moving up and I always went the extra mile.
Same here.
And it really, really helped. And I think that's the only reason I probably made it through. Cause there was, like I was telling you earlier, there was times I just wanted to pack up and go home. Cause this is like, you got no money for a long time, right? You're in the most beautiful town and one of the most beautiful cities in the world. The weather there is amazing every day.
Sun with air conditioned, like I like to say.
Exactly. There you go. And you can't do anything, right? Because you're just like, you're broke, right? You're an intern, first of all, probably not getting paid. And then when you start getting paid, you're barely making enough for the gas and the rent and maybe a movie on the weekend. So you're just like, what am I doing? And then your friends back home are starting to get the good jobs.
They're living
the life. They're now buying their first home and they're having their first child and, they're making a pretty decent salary. And you're just like, what am I doing? And you go home for holidays and stuff. And they're like, well, what are you doing, man? Like, and it really affects you. But I don't know. I just knew that I loved the job. And then when you start meeting important people in Hollywood, everything changed, right? So I started working with some serious players, and it was really cool to see. One story I have is we were in a meeting, and they brought up the idea for Elf to make the movie, right?
Love that movie, Will Ferrell.
And then to watch it all happen. Same with the Ellen DeGeneres show. Ellen was a client at the company I worked at. And they said, well, what about a TV show for Ellen, but a talk show? And everyone's like, oh, that could be a good idea. And then they did it.
It blew up.
Well, they shot the pilot in her house and then billions of dollars later. I mean, it's pretty cool. So to see that happen is cool, and I think that's what keeps you going, what keeps the drive alive. Right.
You saw that spark of hope in all their stories.
Yeah. Everything. I mean, this movie that I was a part of called The Long Game with Javier Chapo, who's also from the Valley. They brought him the book 6 years ago or something like that. And then to see it all happen eventually is fucking cool.
Yeah.
So it's just outside the norm. We're in the entertainment business. So then that job finishes, then you start the other job. And then, so we're constantly evolving. We're constantly trying different things. I'm involved in Crumble Cookies franchise, 4 or 5 stores and stuff like that. So you just never know where it's going to take you. And it's very exciting, but one thing I do, tell the young kids now these days is what you mentioned is like, you gotta open your mind up and you gotta enjoy the journey. You gotta enjoy the times where you're not doing anything. But it is bizarre how these kids think that they're just going to get handed it to them the next day.
Well, and I think social media plays its role and so does reality TV, and I'm not going to put anyone on blast, but I'll just talk about like the Housewives franchise,
Mhm.
one thing that has been making the news a lot lately is that a lot of those women or just people on those shows end up getting arrested or in trouble for a lot of illegal activity because they're trying to keep up appearances. Because kind of the whole reason people watch is to look at that glamorous lifestyle. It almost took the place, I don't know if you would agree, but like Robin Leach's old show where it would do like lifestyles of the rich and famous.
Yep.
And instead, it's kind of like watching that sprinkled with a little drama or a lot.
Yeah.
And now they feel this pressure to maintain that facade, and they'll do anything to keep up with the money, even if they're like hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and stealing money from people. And it starts to get really sad because then you start to ask yourself, is that really what fame is? Because a lot of people, and that's where we kind of get political, right? There's a lot of controversy over this, where they're like, everyone that works in Hollywood sells their soul. Well, I mean, not necessarily.
Yeah.
You can look through the lens of that, guys, if you know, but it's not always like that. There's a lot of good people there that do good things. I'll be very brutally honest. I only made it there like 6 months back in 2016 when I tried schlepping, and it was like crying home to my dad all the time because
Where at?
it was so hard. So I worked at LA Center Studios. Don't ask me how I got myself into
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yes,
That's
I
great.
did.
That's cool.
I did, and I was
What year? Do you remember?
2016.
Oh, wow. I was there.
So I was at Lifetime Studios. I think films there. A lot of people do.
Mhm.
I loved it because I could take my little chubby dog,
Mhm.
and everybody would take them in the elevator. They could go to work with you. It was really cool.
Yeah.
People that worked with me, and then we had a big open area where we had all the rants. So imagine this room, but just real big.
Like a showroom of
So-
different brands.
So that's what it was. It was a showroom.
Anyway, and it was really cool. And it was like, they were just getting paid to like, that's how I met Glenn and Court and all these celebrities too. That really helped too. Cause I would just give them free stuff.
So who doesn't want free stuff? right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they like you. And then I'm getting paid to give it away. Like that's the, think about that.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
dream job.
For
No
sure.
one's bitching at me. No one, and I'm getting paid to go to magic show in Vegas. I'm getting paid to go to the New York Fashion Week and this, all the
And
cool
all
stuff.
this got created from the relationships you built
Yes.
starting off as a publicist in the
Yes.
beginning.
Exactly. And then but that made their relationships bigger because now I'm giving away free cool shit. So then I'll go to J-Lo's manager or this, hey, this is for you too. And then, so now you're just like moving up, right?
Yes,
You're just
yes.
social climbing, right? But like the like really cool way. And then you're starting to get
Because you're not asking them for
yes,
favors.
they're like, hey, give me a what's a big brand that oh man, there's a major brand down the street. I'm gonna forget the name right now. But anyway, big brand, right? They would sell these like $400 hoodies, and I would just give them away to people, and they'd be like, oh, well, you need to come to this event now, and come to this premiere, and and then they just went, and then that's how the consulting started, where I got it was actually a DM, and they were like, hey, we see you're at all the cool shit. We represent high net worth people. Like, would you bring them to some of these events with you sometimes? And I was like,
to get them in.
yeah, to get them in. And I'm like, well, what does it pay? And they're like, this. I'm like, what? So then I had another aha moment where I was like, okay, the manager paid this, the PR paid, and now this. I'm like, wait a minute. Like what I did is I overpaid. You overpay, and then I think you get lucky along the way. So what I mean by overpay is I would just help people.
Mhm.
What else do you need? Let me help you more. Just because I had the power to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it was stressful. Sometimes it wasn't. I always make the joke with my friends here in Austin is like, I'm like, wow, during ACL weekend, I'm the most popular guy in town. And then come Monday, no one knows me. Like, you know what I mean? But it's still fun. I like
Yes.
doing it. And every now and then, maybe you'll make a cool relationship or, you get all these promises and everyone talks a big game until they get what they want, which is fair. It's life. Right?
Have you ever come across like a celebrity that you don't want to work with again? And you don't have to say their name, but
All the time.
really?
All the time. Yeah, I've dealt with some really nasty people growing. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I'm not saying I'm perfect either. I'm sure. No, there was a time I was drinking the Kool-Aid, like the
Yeah.
Hollywood Kool-Aid too, where you're like, well, I'm important and I'm this.
You kind of get that ego.
Yeah, you get a little bit of ego, but I'm lucky it didn't really get me that much because my friends, they eat it up. Their Hollywood really took over their lifestyle.
Mm.
And, unfortunately they don't have like many friends and stuff because they don't feel like they should have friends, which is sad. So they'll be like, oh, Gav, you're invited, but you can't bring anybody. I'm like, what do you mean? I want to come with a friend. I don't want to come by myself to your like birthday party. That's weird.
It's because they don't. It's because they don't trust. It's like it's an insecurity that that they somehow
Honestly,
have.
I don't know what it is, but I'll tell you what it is. It's sad.
Yeah, for sure.
So you touched on something that's really important here, where I've seen so many people make it and lose it all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where they didn't understand where, you know, they should have been nice to people on the way up, or at least made more connections, or said yes a lot. A lot of people would tell me no. I'd be like, hey, I have 20 grand for you. Show up to this place for 1 hour. Oh, no, I'm too good. I'm better than that. Oh, really? Okay. And then cut to, I'm at Equinox working out and they're begging me for 3 grand. I'll go anywhere, Gavin. Just give me some money. I haven't worked in a year and this and that. I'm like, well, dude, you were on a hot show for 3 years. Did you think it was going to go 20?
I think that you also like touched on a really good point there, because there's something going on. I don't know if it's just like this era that we're in right now, or maybe like the younger generation, Gen Z, but they are very much into saying, well, that's not in my job description. Well, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. Well, and I learned that along the way in the mixture of my entertainment jobs and political jobs. People didn't want to do, the ones that didn't want to do anything outside their job description stagnated and fell off.
Yeah.
Because they weren't willing to go the extra mile. They felt very entitled to like a certain promise. I don't know where they got this from, that they didn't have to work hard, that they just supposedly had to work smarter. But I think that if you keep your mind open and you listen to people who have more experience, who have the success that they want, and instead of begrudging you or me or anyone for what we've accomplished and saying, well, how did you do that? And just like hearing you out, I feel like they could accomplish so much more.
Yeah.
But sometimes people aren't willing to learn or to listen. They think they have it all figured out. If I ever tell you I have it all figured out, something's off about me.
Yeah.
Because I don't. None of us do, I think.
Yeah.
We always should have room to learn and grow and try to like absorb more knowledge.
Yeah. It's like
That's part of it.
Do you remember that guy that was in the Cosby Show that
Yes,
took a picture
Malcolm?
of him? No,
Oh.
he passed away, unfortunately.
Yes.
But there was another. He played the boyfriend to the sister, but he was working at like a CVS.
He was the one that was Nelson, right? He was playing the role of a doctor, and he was the wife of the oldest sister in the Cosby
There you
Show.
go.
Yes.
Yeah, the husband, right? So he was working at a CVS, and somebody took a picture of him and was like making fun of him. And
That's how he got his role?
well, no, this was later.
Oh.
The guy was an actor for 10, 15 years.
He was working at CVS after the Cosby Show?
recently.
Wow.
3 years ago.
Wow.
It made national news because this guy took a picture of him, and I don't know, I might be talking out of turn here, but I think he was making fun of him, kind of like, oh, look what this guy's doing now.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, yeah, man, because acting doesn't go forever. So there's probably things he should have done when he was on the show that maybe could have made him a little bit more money, which is what a lot of my actor friends now regret, because they're like, shit, man, I can't believe I was on one of the hottest shows and I didn't take that 5 grand here and 10 grand there that would have added up
Put it
to
away.
a lot of money. Put it away because they probably thought they were too good for it. But a great example for him is that there was really good karma to whoever was making fun of him, and it was a lot of people, right? Because apparently they posted it. There was like 100,000 comments.
That's sad.
Good and bad, not all. It wasn't all negative, but Tyler Perry saw it and went and hired him, and gave him a job, and he's doing okay now. But and another friend of mine was on a big American big famous comedy.
Like one of the reality shows?
They did
or
3
game
movies
shows?
with
American Pie?
That one. He was on American Pie. He played Shermanator, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he was he had
Shermanator.
done all the movies. And then after that, he was a waiter in Santa Monica at Sushi Roku.
Oh, yeah.
Or something like that. And it was funny because one of my friends was in town from England, and he's an idiot, but he tells him, well, what are you doing here, man? Like, called him out, like, not in a bad way, but they're just very like, they just
Frank, very brutally honest.
frank, very honest, right? And he's like, well, here's what happens, man. And like the guy took his time to explain. I was like, you don't have to explain shit, bro. Like the guy was like, oh yeah, well, you don't always work. You get a job, and when your money runs out, you hope for the next job, and you're always, and it doesn't work like that. You can have, like I said, you can be on a show.
Yeah.
I can give you examples, and this is where I kind of got lucky where I chose the back end of it, where you fly under the radar, you work the business side,
It's smart.
I think it was, because I could have, maybe acted or done something. Maybe I would have hit it big for like a year, and then what am I going to do, right? Then I'm all this famous guy that like
People don't realize
I
it's
can't
very
get a real job. You know?
Very few and far between for
Yeah.
people to keep like a high profile acting career
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
It's very rare. Even Charlie Sheen. I mean, look at
Very
everything.
well. Look at what he spent.
Look
Jesus.
at everything that he went through and how it led to his ultimate demise, and he let it all slip.
Yeah.
He was asking, I mean, in a way, Bill Maher for advice the other day when he did an interview. Poor Bill Maher didn't even want to shake his hand or give him a hug after he heard about his dalliances with other men.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that was kind
It's
of
a
funny.
Great documentary.
That was yes, it was a very good documentary. But I liked that Charlie was humble enough to be honest and upfront, like, hey, this was my bad.
Yeah.
This is where I went wrong, and I wish I would have done so many things different. But he gives credit to like his family for like being there for him. And a lot of people don't get those second chances. They die or they overdose or things happen to them, and those are tragic.
At least every 6 months, I hear about a friend of mine killing himself in Hollywood.
That is just horrible.
Actors, and it's sad, but I get it because I was there, right? It's where
And the pressure is
like
there.
the pressure, and then you're used to this job of like, you know, one guy actually recently did it, and he was working for 20 years, and you know, you're not always getting the big checks, but that was his job. It's your dream job, right? You wake up and you're going to set, and it's fucking awesome, right?
Yeah.
And you know, we did a little research because we were like, what the hell happened? And then they were like, well, you know, the landlord was telling us he was like 6 months behind on rent and this and that. He couldn't find a job and like acting wise. So you get it. I'm really proud that I've never hurt anybody. I've never, you know, I've helped. I told you I overhelp, and I'm proud of it. And because I've recently, some guy let him stay with me for like 6 months, and I remember everyone giving me shit about it. I'm like, I pay the bills in this bitch.
So why do they care?
That's what I meant. I was like, why do you care? They're like, well, he's a grown ass man. He shouldn't be staying with you. I'm like, dude, it's a big place. I'm good. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, it's no big deal. And it actually turned out to be a good thing because the guy had lost his job, down on his luck a little bit. He ended up getting a really good job and is doing very well today.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was really like, I told y'all, like, didn't affect me at all. Now it's a problem, you know, like the guy's throwing parties at my place or fucking with me.
Taking advantage.
That's different.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how and I was kind of like shocked a little bit that so many people went out of their way to tell me like
to kick him out.
Why? Yes. And I was like, what? Or even stupid little things. You know, things that you don't think about, like, well, why'd you invite that person? And why? Like, why do you care? It ain't no big deal over here, you know? I think everyone in maybe high school or college has to go through that life course where, first of all, finances, second of all, you know, learning to work with people and being nice, I think can really go a long way. I honestly think that. And, you know, I try to instill that into my friends, and I'll just enjoy your life, enjoy your journey. It's going to suck. First, I mean, let's just talk about dating, right? Like, you're already dealing with that, and you got to deal with a job, and then you got to deal with your job boyfriend. You know, everyone has their like nemesis at work, or it's like, fuck, it's fucking hard, man. So like,
it's so funny too when you say
so
funny when you say nemesis, because I was looking at a meme where they say like sometimes your nemesis can be Susan, who's 70 and about to retire, and you're like, really? That older lady is your nemesis, but they don't know what she's really like.
I've had that.
And so you just kind of don't know what nemesis this could be. But after all this like journey you've described to us, what is in the next chapter for Gavin Navaro?
I'm doing it now. I'm really, I found it's weird. I found happiness. You know, after you fail a lot, I've had some really big failures. I've had a couple of heartbreaks with like friends. Not too many, thank God, because it doesn't bother me that much. Because I'm, like I said, I'm a helper, so I'm good. The helping for me is the drug. It really. I always tell people that, like, they're like, "Why would you help me?" I'm like, it feels better for me. Trust me, I'm not doing it because it's like I'm this good person too, you know. And,
well, you are a good person.
No, I think
you
so.
Find value. You find value.
I think so. I think so. And like I said, not perfect, but you know, I've had some, you know, heartbreaks where like. I remember I helped one guy for like 10 years, and I remember I really needed a favor one time and he didn't do it. That hurt. Really close friend of mine. You know, that's a long time to really like be there for someone.
And then them not like, be there back for you.
Shocking, honestly. It's really shocking. And it just shows you what's out there, and you're just like, holy shit. Because it's easy to be the friend to the guy that's always helping you. You know what I mean? I'm the event guy. I can do everything for everyone.
They were getting something from you.
That's why. But you didn't see it that way, and you never want to look at it that way. But that one hurt. A couple other business things. Sorry, I just recently got screwed on a business deal, and I was just like, God damn, really? Damn, you got to be some kind of like person to be able to like treat people like this.
Right.
But that being said, I found happiness in career life. I'm a world traveler. I love traveling. I chase the weather. I'm here for this week for the big game on Friday. Family's coming to town. I get to do all this stuff. Make pretty good money. I'm not going to be rich, and I'm happy with that. I'm not going to be wealthy because all my friends are. So my clients, right? So I like to say that I'm the richest poor guy you're ever going to meet. Like I said, I do okay. I can do shit for myself. But once I stopped chasing that, life got good. I'm like, I can just clear myself where I can afford this, afford that, afford this. I love great dinners. I love, I do like expensive things. It's not like the cheapest lifestyle, but
Right. Do you consider
but
yourself
I
a
manage.
spiritual person, someone of faith?
A little bit, but nothing that I really like study and explore. So I think that the next thing is just like, hopefully don't get sick anytime soon. And if it happens, I've done it all. And massaging these relationships I have now, just making them stronger. I do all the cool stuff. You kind of know a little bit about what I do. So like when you look at it like that, like what else, right? Spend time with my nieces and nephews.
The quality time
with family, friends, do experiences. I just did the F1 paddock in Vegas this past weekend, and it was like, wow, that was cool. I'm like, oh, hey, Jay-Z, what's up? Or hey, whoever, these.
Do any of these celebs ever like not say hi to you in a nice way?
It's rare, but because it just depends on the room, right? I'm usually in the right rooms. So when you're in that room where it's like 5 levels of security to get there, then everyone's cool. They're like, oh,
they don't have to worry that you have an angle.
I usually have someone with me that's like, I'm usually with Mario, or I'm usually with somebody semi-famous. So they're, every now and then it'll get a little awkward, but rare. Because I know people. I know that I'm like, oh, I know your agent Eric, and oh, okay, cool, or whatever,
Yeah, Eric's a good agent.
Yeah, there you go. I'm kind of like, it's weird. Like people ask me that now, and I ask myself, like, what do I want to do? I'm like, I'm doing it. I wanted to do what I told you when I drove into fucking LA. I'm doing that today. That's all I wanted was like make a few bucks, not have a lot of pressure, not be sad, be happy. Like I'm going, what am I doing? I'm going to go light the Christmas tree in Rockefeller Center on Sunday. We do it on Wednesday. This weekend, like I said, I'm doing all the big game. Then I'm going to Art Basel, have all these really cool events, and I'll spend the winter in Miami. Like, what else? I don't know what else is there to do.
So you surpassed
Marry
everything that you
fucking
really wanted.
Supermodel? I have no idea. Like,
I could be down the path.
That probably wouldn't make me happy, but
it would not, or it would.
It would not. You kidding me? Dealing with that? No way. No. I think that, and it is that is pretty cool, right? Like to be able to go from driving in LA with $75 to my name to being to do what you want. Come on.
Yeah, and no connection
on the highest level. No, didn't know one person. I knew one guy.
Yeah,
one guy that told me I couldn't stay with him. Like that was my welcome to LA, baby. And then all the trials and tribulations and not knowing anything, being a baby and making mistakes. But I think
that's what gives you value.
And not giving up, recovering, maybe taking a break. I took like a couple of breaks from Hollywood, not too long.
People that have the easy way, Gavin, are boring in my opinion.
Well,
get there easier.
But that could be a disease where like you get it so easy that you think it's always going to be like that. Like an actor getting his first audition, and you think it's always.
Look at all the child stars that have gone bad. That's a perfect example.
I mean, that's a great example. Look at Britney Spears. I can name a bunch of them. I'm just trying to stay out in my lane, and try to be the best person I can be, and enjoy life and. I'm doing a pretty good job at it. I think
you're doing a phenomenal job at it.
And I want to keep it that way. I want to, have these amazing friendships I developed and just, man, like even me and my family, we just laugh. We laugh at ourselves. We make fun of each other. And, they're like, oh, you think you're badass. You're a loser. I'm like, true. True. But it's fun.
Yeah.
And at school, we're all proud of each other. My family's doing good. And, to come from like, this back road, dirt road on 8 Mile Line, dirt poor, to do all this fun stuff. It's cool. I was able to introduce my nieces to like Selena Gomez and like all these really cool people. And
so you're the favorite uncle?
100% for sure. Definitely a great uncle. I would say that's probably my number one thing that I'm proud of. man, and just keep going and see where it
Yeah.
goes. I don't know what's going to happen in 2 years. I don't know, but I've lined up my life to where I'm at the right places now, and I'm enjoying life, health and wellness. I think I'm old now. I like my walks. I enjoy a long lunch by myself.
Yeah.
I
The simple
enjoy
things.
little stuff like that. And to be able to do all that is important. Like I said, I
It's a blessing for sure.
love a nice, expensive dinner. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's fun. And then the normal things, just taking a walk is freaking awesome, and like knowing things are okay. Like I set myself up usually a year or two in advance, so I don't have to stress out. Like,
Yeah.
oh shit, what am I going to do in 3 months?
So you have it scheduled out.
Yeah, I have it scheduled out. I already know, like in May when I'm already working F1 for next year. It just finished 2 days ago, so that's awesome.
But that's how you have to look at things.
But that show that helps me sleep at night, because I know I'm like, okay, I already have work for at least 2-3 years.
Yeah.
If it ends, and if it ends, I'll be in frickin' Edinburgh, Texas, loving life.
Money is the number one concern for most people.
That's
so
why.
the fact that you can have that stabilized.
But that's where I got it stable. And like I said, it's not a lot, but it's good money, right? It's really good. So, for me, one thing that I did struggle with was, and I'm rambling here now, so please stop me. But that I hang out with really wealthy people.
Mhm.
They're my clients, they're my friends, they're my investors. That was hard to try and be the poor kid years ago, of having literally like no money, to hanging out with them. It was some depression times, because I would go from their mansion to my little studio down the hill, the hills. And it was hard. It was hard. And like, trying to date and like,
But I think it's the perspective that's in the journey, right? Like if you're able to see that, and goes back to what I was telling you earlier.
Yeah.
Like if you and I were to talk 20 years ago, without you having this, without me going through what I went through, we might be having a totally different conversation. And the thing is
I
that
think I was delusional.
But I mean, to be super successful, to get to where I feel like you have to be a little bit delusional.
Yeah, you gotta
believe in yourself.
You gotta be.
And I'm not trying to be corny about it. I'm just being honest. Like I really believe that positive energy brings more positive energy. And so as much as we can talk about this forever and ever, I really think that this has been a good story. I really hope other people can gain perspective from this and take these little good gold coins of information that you've shared and build upon that for their own future. And
I
thank you
think
for taking.
I think the here's the real thing. Here is why I like doing this kind of stuff, and why I talk to people all the time, is like it's real. Like what you've done is real. What I've done is real. So it's very possible. Because all I get is people like, oh, I'm never going to do it. I can't do that. I can't do it. I'm like, well, I did it, and I'm not the smartest fucking guy. I did it with making all the mistakes.
Yeah.
So imagine if like I know these people, they're like way smarter than me. And I'm like, what do you mean? It just takes the balls and wake up, the discipline, do it every day.
It takes the schlepping.
Do it every day. One guy saw me on the bus and he was like, why would you ever take the bus? I'm like, because that's how I get to work, dude. Like, oh, I would never do that. I'm like, I know, but that's
there was times in LA where I had to take the bus.
Yeah.
There was times I had to.
But do you know how
not
many
proud of it, but
do you know how many millions of people take the bus every day?
Yes, I saw
the
them.
train every day. But that's what I'm saying. That ain't that normal. It's not abnormal.
No, yeah.
It
was part of the young journey. Oh well.
Dude, it's like Uber now. People didn't think we like, oh, you taking a cab? We are taking a cab. It's called Uber. It's the same thing. Okay, well, on that note, we'll end.
We're gonna wrap this up with a bow.
I'll come back and we'll talk more.
I think we would definitely like for you to come back.
Yes.
But thanks guys for listening. This has been The Pulse with Patty.